Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. My name is Rosbreath, or Rob, and I have returned as commentator. I was absent last week. I was out of the house to do other stuff that evening, and I'm back. And it appears we have had a rather interesting race last week in Brazil. But first and foremost, let me take you to what is the track tonight, because I've arrived at home. This is Zandvoort in the Netherlands, my home country. I personally live about 70 kilometers southeast of this track, so not really that close to be fair, but it still feels like home here. It's in the dunes, it's in the very nice, very close to the sea, as you can see right here. A very fancy track indeed, a very classic one indeed. And yes, it is round 6. We are at the halfway point in my home country. So a very special place to arrive then. As the season comes to the halfway point, it's going to be a good one. I've got a good feeling about this. The standings, as you can see right here, it's heated at the top. FER has had a couple of good runs right now. They've got a 1-3 last week in Brazil. That means they've now moved up to second in the standings, passing ET8 and ZNT along the way. And they are now closing in fast. They're 45 points behind TF10, which are still leading quite firmly. And they could lose the lead today if they do not score points, and FER scores really well. But I find that to be quite unlikely. Nonetheless, it is starting to look like we are getting a very interesting battle for P1. Same goes, of course, for third and fourth with between ET8 and Zenith, aka ZNT. It looks like they're only 9 points behind one another. Of course, there are still NLR as well and P fighting with the other two for that third position. The title defenders in the mid of the pack at the moment. Then behind them, CPI and ABS in 6th and 7th, only 2 points apart. And then 6 points behind ABS is TTM in 8th position. And then far behind the rest are TGF and EVE fighting over 9th and 10th. Several things have changed in terms of my streaming capabilities as well. I've learned how to properly use OBS thanks to Ace, so a big hats off to you. And it's become a lot easier actually to use. So for example, I can quickly switch between scenes right there with just the click of a button. I tried to do hotkeys on my mouse, but it turns out those numbers on my mouse correspond with the numbers on my keyboard, meaning that whenever I switch a scene, I also switch my camera view to a driver. So I will not be using that. I'll try to figure out another way to use hotkeys. Maybe even consider a stream deck. That would be quite useful. 19 drivers in as we speak, and I've got something interesting as well. Let's pray it actually works. Here we go. For the first time in history for myself as well, I've got a face cam. Hello, it's me. Yes, a real life person. You can see I'm wearing my Williams outfit because I'm a Williams fan. I'm also wearing an F1 cap because, you know, it's what the situation requires. And in case you're wondering why are you looking to your left, it's because I've got a very wide screen. It's 43 inches, so it goes all the way to there. That's where the Discord is. In the middle is my F1 screen. There's the face cam. And right there is my OBS screen. So that's what I'm watching right now. I was able to enable the eye tracking in the app, but that gave a really scary look. It would make my eyes constantly look at the face cam wherever I looked. And it was kind of creepy. So I've decided not to do that. But here we are. Hello. And good to see you there. We are about to get underway. I'm just trying to find out whether the last driver is going to join or not as I turn off some things on my top screen. Yes, I have a top screen as well. I've got a 43-inch widescreen on my desk, and then above my desk on a little bit of a clamp, as you can call it, is my top screen, and that's where the YouTube screen is located with the number of viewers, etc. It's looking quite fancy. So, just waiting for the host to give the get-go. I think they've already done so, yes. So we should be on our way any minute. And we're going to go to my home, basically. And yeah, it should be a good one. Just popping up the standings one more time to prove that it's going to be a good one. And how close everything is between 2 or 3 teams all together for first and second. Then for third through P5, then 6th and 7th and 8th are very close as well. And then 9th and 10th are still fighting for that position too. Either way, whatever way you look at it, I am looking forward to it. It's good to be back in business as well. There's some new names for several teams tonight, some familiar names as well. I'll be introducing you to them very soon. Now, there was supposed to be some other interesting, fascinating graphics made by Byron. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to them to work in time, as I'm putting my overlay on right there. Look at that. A fancy new overlay as well, especially the top right. As you can see, the sponsors are a bit more visible, and they've got that fancy blue background, which you see with the other graphics as well. So all in all, several upgrades from the series side as well as from my own side. And I'm curious to see what you people think of it. So let me know in the chat. So I'm having a little look at the names. You saw them in the right as well. So they'll be switching to the left side as we are waiting for the track to get going. Let's see if there's some typical Dutch weather going on in the qualifying. If not, it could be during the race. Keep in mind, there's a restart between the qualifying and the race. And yep, it is very Dutch. Look at this. This is the most Dutch weather you can get, my dear viewers. Full wet conditions. Very wet indeed. It's actually the weather that we've had for the last couple of days in real life as well here in our little country. And it's what you'll experience quite often, especially during the autumn, winter and spring times. In summer, it can actually get quite nice around here. But here we are, very Dutch. Now let's see if the race is going to be the same. As I said, there's going to be a restart in between qualifying and the race. And that also means that the weather is going to be reset as well. So whatever weather predictions are being put on for the race right now, they can throw them out of the window. Because it could still be very different. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what the weather is going to bring in the race. It's wet qualifying, that's for sure. That's going to bring out the best of the best in people, or it should be happening like that. Because of course it's going to be very tricky indeed. Since you can switch setups as the lobby gets restarted, people will probably go for a very wet setup indeed. Several cars going out right now. It's some white dots on the minimap. Got no clue which car it is. It's one of them. Jeremy Gallagher for ZNT. It's the third one to go out right there. I believe his teammate Sasha Nieb, yes, there he is just in front. They are using the same livery, so that makes things slightly easier to see. And just look, as they're trying to find the grip, there's absolutely none of it on track right now. And therefore, the full wet tires are going to be very effective right now. But I'm curious to see whether or not drivers are going to try and go for a lap on the inters. That is why it's very rarely that we do this. We switch to the tire graphic as well. You can already see that Gallagher, among several others, is going to try it on the intermediates. And let's find out if that's going to work or not. ASLS in the fancy ET8 livery out there as well. Mark Schluter, his teammate. We all know that he's very fast in wet conditions. So let's see what he can bring to the table when the qualifying is actually wet instead of the race. Now I'm just trying to find out who is the first to start a hot lap. I believe the ZNT guys are in front. They've both overtaken our new ABS driver, at least in this series for me, Ferdi Hairusi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. As we watch Jeremy Gallagher and then of course Sasha Nieb to start the first hot lap of the evening. In this weather condition, I wouldn't really call it a hot lap, more like a cold lap. Past the pit exits through the Tarzan corner. Yes, there's a corner on this track called a Tarzan one. Then through, well, what you English would probably call Gerlag. I would try to call it under the Dutch name Gerlach. As well as turn 3, which is Hugenholz or Hugenholz, whichever you prefer. Then turns 5, 6 and 7 as we go through turn 7 right here. The Schijfvlak. Yes, I'm very Dutch indeed, as you can hear. And Sasha Nieb is looking very strong at the moment. These conditions seem to suit him quite well. Through the Masters corner, then turn 9, which is actually quite fittingly called turn 9. And turn 10 right here. Which also doesn't really have an original name. The name's of turn 10. Then, of course, the famous Hans Ernst corner, or the Hans Ernst Bocht, or corner. Bocht is actually corner in Dutch. And then Sasha will be completing his lap. Just, the Arie Luijendijk corner here through turn 14. The banking, of course, very famous on the main straight right there. No DRS, as you can expect in these conditions. And across the line goes Sasha Nieb, 21.130. And Gallagher on those inters actually goes slightly faster. I think it's not that easy to say whether the inters or the full wets are faster or not. Both Z and T guys are more or less as quick, 2.5 tenths in between the full wets and the inters. So the difference, if it's there, is actually really small. As Ryan Grob and the inters actually does go quite a lot faster. Goodness me, Jeremy Gallagher nearly losing control of the car. There's Ryan Grob for TF10. So it looks like the inters might be the tires to go with. And Tom Starling has retired as he has to take the qualifying ban for NLR. So the championship defenders not off to a great start in tonight's qualifying. We're trying to find somebody who's on a hot lap at the moment. Lucas Bison actually to cross the line there. Goes 5th fastest on the inters as well. But he's 1.3 seconds slower almost than his own teammate Ryan Grob, who sits on provisional pole on the inters as well. So the full wets might be the fastest at the moment, you would say. But the inters are up there too, so it's difficult to judge. Look at Dennis Langrock, for example. It's he's put in a lap time of a 20.7, but that's almost half a second slower than Ryan Grob. But you've got to take that little side note that Ryan is really fast in whatever conditions you throw at him. So it looks like TF10 have actually brought out their very fast driver with Ryan, as they are seeing FVR creeping ever closer. Speaking of FVR, let's see where they are. We see Balin Teleki's on his way. Noah Yilikorpi has put in a 22.5, sitting at 11th only at the moment. That's not what you like to see if you try to challenge for the top of the steps. The top of the leaderboard, actually. Balin here with his very striking pink livery. It's quite obvious that FVR is not using one livery, or are they? Because Noah's livery is also somewhat pinkish. He's using a different type. It's quite clear that Balin is using another sort of livery, but the colors at least somewhat match. Most drivers have been able to put in a lap. Purple middle sector for Balin as well. Can he actually challenge Ryan Grob? He's on the inters too, as is Inspo for TGF. His teammate at the moment, Christian Lubinov, in P9. And TGF really needs those points to stay ahead of EVE. Let's see what Balin can do for FVR. And he does go fast. The driver to go into the 1 minute 19s is this man, actually. And a quite strong job by him indeed. So the first steps in the wet weather have been set. Aaron Raminges for CPI is going to try his lap on the full wets with 11 minutes remaining. So, whoa! Looks like it's quite a struggle for him as he approaches turn 3 right here. Drifting a lot. Whether that's the tires being too hot or the track being extraordinarily wet, I couldn't say. But I think it's because the tires are getting a little hot right here. Because now, at least, we can see those inter tires getting better and better. Jeremy Gallagher going out on the inters once again. Same goes for Sasha Nieb. Actually, Sasha was the one of the full wets, I believe, or vice versa. But Aaron trying to put in the effort. His teammate Jan Svrdilic hasn't been able to put in a proper lap time, as Lucas Bison now goes fastest overall. TF10 is once again back up there very well indeed, with Beisner going in with a 19.7. 2 tenths, almost 2.5 tenths quicker than Balin Teleki's. So, looking quite strong out there. But what can Aaron Raminges do about it? He's got about 10 seconds to complete the lap to go fastest overall. Quite like the orange on his livery, very Dutch. As he comes across the line, it's going to be a 20.6. That is 4th fastest on the full wets, beating several inter drivers. So yeah, the question remains unanswered. Which tire is quicker? They all have their graphics available in the pit box to show to them which tire is the fastest at the moment. We're watching Tim Tornimo, who just came out of the pit box. His teammate is serving a qualifying ban. So NLR rely on him to get a fast lap in. He's currently 13th fastest only just ahead of Pascal Ranieri, who just started his hot lap. Let's watch him for a little bit as he drifts through turn 3 as well. Turns out drifting might be the quickest way to get through the corner right there. And of course, the particular sort of back straight-ish here with 3 very slight corners, throwing the car into turn 7. Well, let's see what he can do. I've missed his first sector time. Let's see then what his second sector time is going to be. He's currently on a 21.8. That is only good enough for P15, and it's 2 seconds slower. We'll make that almost 3 seconds slower than Jeremy Gallagher. It is 3 seconds slower now, so the lap times are tumbling fast. And the Inter appears to get the better result right now than the full wets. And look at Pascal, almost 2 seconds quicker than his previous attempt. As he probably said it on the full wets himself. All he has to do now is keep the car out of the walls and on the tarmac. Just the line to cross, it's a 1 minute 19.5. It is 5th fastest for the time being. A few minutes ago, there would have been provisional pole as he has already beaten Lucas Beisner to it. But Ryan Grob showing once again why he's such a quick driver. As he comes across the line, goes fastest overall. As Aceles goes in on his full wets, probably going to switch to the Inter. It's a wise decision. Trying to find Mark Schluter. He's only 12th fastest at the moment. Not really up there yet, but he might have set that lap time on the full wet. So let's watch him a little while for the ET8 team, which have been pushed down to 3rd position now in the drivers, or sorry, the team standings. Of course, the driver standings is far, far, far inferior to those team championships going on in this series, as we all know. It's a team effort. They cannot tow off one another, not use any slipstream whatsoever. Almost a second quicker through the first sector alone is Mark Schluter. He's very well on his way, trying to beat Ryan Grob to the line. And I think tonight is going to be all about timing, because the later you go, the drier the track potentially could be, as far as it can be dry. As he goes through turn 10 right here, onward to the back straight, where normally you would have DRS. Now, overtaking on this track is quite rare, of course. 1.6 seconds quicker right now. If he keeps it up like this, it could very well be provisional pole. He could be well over 2 seconds quicker by the time he crosses the line. Let's find out whether that is true or not. On the inside of the banking, right onto the main straight. Very few invalidated laps as well. There we go! Mark Schluter proving once again he is a master in the wet. 1:18.3, and the lap times are getting faster and faster right now. There goes Dennis Langrock, even quicker than Mark Schluter with an 18.2. Now let's see which black car is next across the line. I think it was one that just started his hot lap right there. Watching Elliot Simpson right here. Sasha Neeb goes even quicker than Dennis Langrock. Sasha Neeb for Elliot Simpson for EVE. What can he do across the line? 10th fastest right now. 19.2. Well, that is well over a second of provisional pole right now. Or 19.4 actually, I should say. As Ferdy is actually in 10th and Elliot is in 2P11. Yeah, I nearly said that. Yes, Aiden. It's one of those names you can easily switch the letters around and it would still sound somewhat reasonable. But it would probably not make him very happy by calling him Lennis Dangrock. Ryan Grob, wow, look at that. 1 minute 17 and counting. Things are getting faster and faster. Mark Schluter is probably either recharged the battery or he's going in. No, he's going again. That shows that several drivers have taken a heavier fuel load, which will also affect their lap times, of course. So this one should definitely be quicker for Mark. He's going around once again. Let's switch back to him soon to see what he's going to do. Jans Verdillik, I am not sure whether he's going currently on a hot lap. Let's join him on board to see whether he's pushing or not. I think he might be pushing right here. Using his battery, let's see. Yes, he's definitely using his battery. So Jans Verdillik on his way, currently last. CPI pretty much in the mud at the moment. Both at the back of the field. It's the fact that Tom Starling is serving a qualifying ban. Otherwise they would start on the last row. But right now it's not looking good. So Jan and Aaron have some work to do. Now they might have set that lap time on the full wets. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely has been on the full wets, so that explains a whole lot. 1.4 seconds quicker now through the middle sector. Should be another 7 or 8 tenths off in the final one. That would make them well over 2 seconds quicker and would put Jan somewhere in the top 10. I would say around the time of Tim Tornimo. Just a little guess there. Especially in these conditions, it's hard to guess where drivers are going to be. It's going to be a 1 minute 18.9 actually. That's actually a lot further off Tim Tornimo's time than I expected. And 11th fastest for now for Jan Svrdillik. Speaking of Tim, currently on his way, not on a hot lap at the moment, charging his battery. 6th fastest right now. About 7 tenths of a second off provisional pole. Ryan Gropp has gone back in. I'm not sure if he's able to get back out in time. Mark Schluter is still sticking around in 2nd place for now. But he's almost as quick as Ryan Gropp. Now he's probably going to hope that it's going to rain in the race as well. Because it once again shows that Mark is just absolutely, well, I wouldn't say dominant, but really strong out there. He's beaten Ryan Gropp in Great Britain in the first race and these same conditions. On the very last lap. On the second to last lap, probably. Can't remember from the top of my head. But it was a very close race indeed. ASLS for ET8. That's Schluter's teammate right there. Going round again, currently sitting in P9. 18.5, almost a second slower than his own teammate. But it's, I believe, been a while since this man has set a lap time. So he's probably going to be quite a lot quicker right now. Switching to Aaron Reminges as well, because he's the only driver not to have set a lap time on the Inters. So we should probably watch him for a little while. Put my mouse out of the screen. I'm not sure why it's back on the screen. Quite sure I've actually turned it off. Either way, a second quicker through Sector 1 is Aaron Reminges at the moment. He's looking quite fast there. But it's not yet enough to go for provisional pole. But I'm quite sure it's going to be quicker than Jan Svrdillik's time. Let's see what he does through the middle sector. That will give us a good indication of what his lap time could potentially be. Meanwhile, ASLS, I believe, is about to cross the line. As Balin Telekis actually is the first rider to go in the 1 minute 16s. FVR back on top once again. TF10 moves to the 2nd position. ASLS now going to 2nd place. Ryan Gropp down to P3. Now we're watching Aaron Reminges. He's abandoned his lap. He's not satisfied. He's going to try again now. He's got about a minute, so this has to be the lap for him. It's going to have to count, otherwise it's starting from the back. Now, those fighting for pole position, it's several drivers, I'd say, who are in with a shot. Lucas Beisner is one of them, I think. Balint has already shown that it can go a whole lot quicker. ASLS has crossed the line, gone 2nd fastest, proving that it can indeed go a lot quicker. I don't think ASLS is going to on the front row. Lucas Beisner now starting his hot lap for the final time. Half a minute remaining. Many drivers on their out lap still, and currently in the final sector. Several drivers, in fact, have recharged the battery. Balin Telekis, for example, I think has time for another hot lap. That would probably be coming in really handy. Lucas Beisner for TF10. 2 positions behind his teammate at the moment. And putting the power down. 1/10 quicker through Sector 1. Not enough yet. Everybody just throwing their cars into the corner. Several drivers are now officially finished qualifying. ASLS, Elliot Simpson, Christian Lubinov and Jan Svrdillik are done. This will be their best position, but I think the quickest drivers have yet to finish. Look at that, Aaron Reminges finally has set a proper lap time there, 17.5. Lucas Beisner not finding that time that he needs to find. There goes Dennis Langrock across the line, 17.0, 2nd fastest now. Lucas Beisner next to do so. Can he get it close to provisional pole from the first 2 sectors? I'd say not yet. It is an improvement though, goes third fastest, but it will definitely not be pole position. Next then to cross the line, one of them is Ryan Gropp, as Sasha Neeb now goes faster, but Ryan is probably going to smash it. There it goes. 16.6. Is there somebody who can go and try to beat that? Passy goes 6th fastest. Many drivers are crossing the line in a black livery car, so it's difficult to see for me who is who. Balin Telekis to cross the line. Can he beat Ryan Gropp? He can't. Is Mark Schluter still in his way? Yes, he is. Can he actually beat him to pole position? I think he missed out. Third for Mark Schluter, and Ryan Gropp for TF10 does take pole position in this epic and wet qualifying. There he goes. Ryan Gropp for TF10 fastest, but their main rivals now with Balin Telekis right behind. Then Mark Schluter in third, Sasha Neep and Jeremy Gallinier for ZNT. Strong position for them together in fifth and fourth. Dennis Langrock P6, Lucas Beiser 7th, Tim Tronimo P8, Passy in P9, Aaron Raminges in P10. And then the rest looking like this. With Tom Starling, of course, starting from the back. And Jan Svedelik will be very disappointed with his result. I know he can be up there, actually. But he's not. And his teammate is, in the end, only finished in 10th, or will start from 10th, I should say. That means that the lobby will have a little restart, which will allow us a little bit of a break. This weather, therefore, can be thrown out of the window. It was going to be a wet race. That would have been absolutely fascinating. But it will be dynamic weather, as Ryan Gropp asks in the Discord. Yes, it will be. So this weather is not going to be the one. It could very well be, but we'll find out in a few minutes. And until then, enjoy a little intermission screen, I'd say. Welcome back. We are about to get underway for the race. As you can see the standings on the screen right now. 36 laps are coming up. Several drivers agreeing that this was the most Dutch weather we've ever seen. The actual weather for that race would have been wet all the way to dry conditions at the end of the race. So from full wets to inters to whatever dry tires they want to use, that would have been fascinating. So let's just keep fingers crossed that those conditions could be in this race as well. It would be the most Dutch thing to have happened this season so far. Let's see if the face cam still works. Yes, it does. That's quite fascinating. Interestingly, if I click on the game, it actually does start to lag a little bit. So it looks like I'm talking in slow motion, but I don't. Just FYI. Also curious to know who you guys think is going to be the winning team tonight. Is FVR going to close the gap, or is TF10 going to extend it once again? With Lucas Beisner and Ryan Gropp, and FVR with Balint Elekis and Noah Yidikorpi, who was qualified somewhere in the middle of the pack. Well, thank you, Ethan. I'll just take it as a compliment. Don't worry. I'm also wearing all F1 outfits, Williams outfits, F1 cap, fancy SteelSeries headset, and as you can see, when I'm trying to move, my chair is moving around. That's not because the chair is moving. That's because my face cam keeps track of my face, because it's a clever face cam, that thing is. Right, I think, yep, the ready up has been given, so let's hope the drivers ready up quickly, and then we should be on our way for the race. Also, do you like my background? Yes, a big Formula 1 car. Quite fancy that. It's a screenshot of my own custom livery in the game. Because if you haven't guessed, my favorite color is blue. Either way, let's get going is what Ace has said in the chat, and that is what we shall be doing. In fact, everybody has readied up before the timer was even up, which is a first in my career as a commentator. And that's been over the span of a few years now, so GG. That means we're going to switch to the game overlay, and that also allows me to quickly try and turn off the mouse before things are too late. There we go. That should fix it. Yep, it has fixed it. Excellent. And we should be on our way any moment now. There we are. Drivers will be picking their setup. And what's the weather going to be? 1, 2, 3. And it's sunny. Well, then let's just hope the weather will change throughout the race. Some drivers were hoping for rain, including Ryan. Aiden definitely didn't want it to rain. Who forgot setup then? Somebody has left the session now as well. This is going to be interesting. Something is going on. It vanished. Game crashed. I'm not sure what vanished. So we're just having a little tentative start here right now. Not sure what's going on. 2 drivers at least are experiencing issues. Somebody's already pressed the advance button, I think. Meaning that drivers have very little time to pick a setup and or tire strategy. And now the question gets asked by the organizer themselves. Do we need a restart? This is not the start, I think. But it might be, so let's see what's going to happen. It's a yellow flag straight away. It's not everybody gets off the line that easily, but Balint Elekis leads into turn 1. I'm still confused whether this is going to be a restart or not, so apologies if the commentary is a little less than usual. But it looks like Balint Elekis has gone off the line quite safely. The yellow flag for Jans Verdick as he retired somehow. That's very bad news for him indeed. That crash caused him to retire straight away. It was a CPI car, yes. And it looks like some drivers might not have been able to pick a tire strategy. Speaking of those tires, Bailey Telekis has started on the soft tires for some strange reason. As he tries to extend his lead quite fast now. Several drivers making moves right there. Ferdi Herjusi has gone past Passy right there. Also started on the softs. Same goes for Elliot Simpson, who's gone for the soft option as well. Quite fascinating how several drivers have picked the tire. I'm sure that burns out quite quick on this track especially. Ryan Grobner getting hounded by Mark Schluter for second position. And it looks like Mark Schluter is going to make that move right there on the main straight as we approach lap 2 right here. Mark Schluter goes into second place and onwards we go. As we're still waiting for confirmation whether this is a restart or not. Nonetheless, we'll just keep pretending there's not going to be a restart and keep the commentary going right here. Sasha Neave now under pressure from Dennis Langrock. For 4th position, FVR's Bailey Telekis is off into the distance. No more DRS for the drivers behind, but that soft tire is not going to last very long indeed. Now the host themselves asks for a restart. There's still some confusion going on in the Discord. I'll keep you updated as Sasha Neave gets through pressure now from Dennis right there. On the back straights, he's going to go for a move right here. No, he isn't, but Noah is certainly going for it. FVR's second driver right there with a move on Lucas Beisner on those mediums has gone up into P7. Tom Starling and Elliot Simpson in the meanwhile fighting for what is 13th position right now. And there is Ferdi Harusi there in the background too. Whoa, Starling gets pushed wide a little bit as he tries to pass Elliot Simpson. Dennis Langrock has overtaken Sasha Neave properly right now as he goes up into 4th place and now finds Ryan Gropp ahead of him. A lot of things are going on right now and still no confirmation yet. Would be nice if some speed was going to happen. And there it is, confirmation that the race is going to be restarted. I had a feeling it was going to happen. That also is a great excuse to reset my confused commentating right there, the race start, because everything was very unclear. It's going to be a restart indeed. Probably good news for Christian Lubinov as well, as he had to pit. Passy too, and Jeremy Gallagher as well. They're still racing. Not many drivers have seen the moments of their engineers that the race is going to be restarted yet. As a lot of respect is being given to the host, especially for allowing Jan Sredillik to rejoin the race. Of course, it's not his fault that the PC has decided to crash. Some interesting racing still going on though, as Acelis has overtaken Andrew Mingus and Pascal Ranieri. It looks like no driver has yet been able to... Oh, there goes the first accident. They've probably noted it now. And several drivers are starting to retire. And maybe that might cause a chain reaction. Now the good thing about this is that the lobby, I believe, has remembered the grid for the race start. So that should make things a whole lot quicker. That means we do not have to go for an intermission. And of course FVR not too happy about it. But then again, you can't really keep everybody happy. And the drivers are free to pick their tires once again. They don't have to go over the same tires because apparently there's no rule on it. And that of course will throw several tire strategies out of the window. I wonder if Baden Telekis is going to go for the soft tires once again. Whoa, some serious crashing going on right there as Ryan Gropp tries to take out Balin Telekis. Balin has probably realized as well now that the session is restarted. Only Tim and, never mind, Inspo has retired as well. And that means restart number 2. Will this be another dynamic weather thing? It is going to be dynamic still. So the weather could still change. Actually, Ace is going to check. Well, fascinating. This, of course, is all not happening right there. Mark Schrutter hasn't won this race. It's going to be restarted momentarily. And then we'll be on our way once again. So, I wonder which screen I should put up right now. The technical issue screen or the intermission screen. Because technically this isn't an issue. But it's also a little break. So, while we wait, once again, a little bit of music and a bit of an intermission screen. And until then, see you very soon. Right, we're on our way back for attempt number, well, technically attempt number 2 for the 36 laps of Zandvoort. The weather has been set to dynamic again, which means the weather we just saw is going to be thrown out of the window again. So, could still mean rain on the radar then. Let's find out what's going to happen here in my home country as we switch to the game for the third time right now. Some drivers happy with the restart, others are not, but as I said, you can't keep everybody happy. If we hadn't restarted, other drivers would have been unhappy about it, so what can you do about it? Nonetheless, we're just waiting for drivers to ready up in the screen right here, then select their car setups, and then we should be good to go. Let's see what the weather is going to do. It's cloudy this time, so a little bit of a mix. We've had rain, we've had sun. Now we've got clouds. So everything we've seen now. And let's see whether these clouds are going to give us some rain or whether they're just going to stay there, hang around or move away. I couldn't tell you. I have not yet set up my team telemetry properly yet. I should probably do that real soon to help you viewers out on the weather too. Because of course all drivers and race engineers know. But we do not. For now though, the starting conditions at least are going to be dry, and the question of course is, are the drivers going to pick the same tires again? They do not have to. It's not a rule. But they might want to change, because now other teams know strategies of the others. And that is going to change things around potentially. As I'm trying to up the game volume a little bit. I hope it's not too loud now. Because as I've changed my scenes around a little bit, volumes might be slightly different. Maybe myself is a little too loud, for example. So I've just turned down my own volume a little bit. So yeah, just switching settings around. Let me know whether you hear some echo, for example. That means my mic is too loud. All of those things. All useful information, but we're now going to the race properly with Ryan Grubb from pole position, Bailey Telekis in second place. What tires are they using? Looks like several tires, so drivers have chosen different tires. Here we are, but Bailey Telekis has once again gone for the soft tires as he will try to extend his advantage quickly once again, and that means he easily takes the lead from Ryan Grubb for the second time right there. Mark Schluter getting hounded by Dennis Langrer, who tries to go around the outside in turn 3. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. But they're still gonna go and try side by side, nearly taking one another out. Not sure if Mark Schluter knew Dennis was actually there. We've got a yellow flag. Jan Svrdilik falling behind the field once again. Not sure what's going on with his PC tonight, but it's definitely not cooperating, whatever the incident was this time. Pascal Ranieri and Aceles fighting for position as well in the midfield. A lot of fights are happening at the moment. Aaron Raminges side by side there for a moment with Tim Turnimo. Ferdy's moving up the field, still getting past Passy right now. As Elliot Simpson moves down the order side by side, go Noah and Ferdy. Ferdy tries to go on the inside, cuts a little bit of the corner, but Noah's still there, hanging on to P10 for the moment. A little bit of bumping, a potential little bit of lag right there, but Ferdy's finally gone past. He's also started on the soft tires, but look at the lead that several cars are built already. I'm not sure what's happened in the midfield, but Ryan Grubb has pulled away massively from the rest as Dennis Langrock finally moves up into third, going past Mark Schluter. Mark Schluter nearly getting rear-ended by Jeremy Gallagher as well, but I'm not sure what happened at the front right there. Well, we weren't watching it, unfortunately, but the gap between Ryan Grubb and Dennis Langrock is the biggest surprise of all, as Dennis now has to close that 1.3 second gap. The gap between P1 and 2 is not surprising whatsoever. It's soft versus hards, so that's quite obvious. But the fact that Mark Schluter has left a 1.5 second gap at the start-finish line between himself and Ryan is surprising. So probably a lot of hard fighting going on right there as we were watching the other fights going on. Either way, lap 2, DRS enabled right now. Dennis still not within range. I think this group should try and tow one another along to get to Ryan Grubb before he escapes for real. The gap is slowly getting closer though. It is now 1.2 or 1.1-ish seconds. Looks like Dennis, of course, is a lot quicker through the corners on those fresh mediums. Mark Schluter barely hanging on to DRS. It's crucial for him to hang on, so he can just tow along to the man in second place. Bailey Telekis once again with the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 11.1. 2.3 seconds clear now. Oh, a bit of a bump between several cars, including teammates from ZNT. Jeremy Gallagher and Sasha Deep coming together. And nearly Sasha lost his place to Lucas Bison, the other TF10 driver, who would be all too happy to get in front of all of these, to hold them all up, to make sure they do not get to Ryan Grubb. But Dennis has now closed the gap to within a second, and he's taken everybody with him all the way down to P17. Passy is in the back of the field. Jan Svrdilik has pitted, is now 32 seconds behind Passy. And this large group of 17 cars is being tailed by Inspo from TGF. TGF on the verge of points with only Christian Lubinov going for a point at the moment. But as it stands, Dennis is going to pile on the pressure on Ryan Grubb, and Mark Schluter has not been able to keep up with the TTM car ahead, meaning that he's now got to defend from behind with Jeremy Gallagher and Sasha Nee. Both ZNT cars are going to try and take his position. Jeremy Gallagher does get past. Can Sasha Nee do the same? Yes, he does, as both of them go into turn 1. Mark Schluter actually let them go. He knew they were faster for the time being. And now at least he can try to recharge some batteries. He can tow along with the ZNT cars, who are now going to try and chase down Dennis. But again, Dennis got those medium tires. And all he needs to do now is attack and overtake Ryan Grubb, and they can work together to keep the group behind at bay. But that's usually easier said than done if it's anything from the past to judge on. Cooperation between teams seems to have become a bit less of a thing. We try and close gaps, but look at Aaron. Aaron is on a roll, trying to get past Tim Turnimo. Or sorry, Lucas Bison there, because Tim Turnimo is behind. Ooh, Noah Unicorpi, I'm not sure what happened there. He's dropped down quite fast right there. 30 is absolutely on the roll for ABS, getting past every single car he finds ahead of him, and now pressuring Aaron Dominguez for P8. I do not know whether he's raced or not last week, but if he hasn't, it's a brilliant debut so far for 30. He'll definitely be impressing the team. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Jans Verdiding is having an absolute nightmare of a race as Dennis Langrock gets past Ryan Grob without too much trouble. Going up into second place. And now 3.6 or 3.5-ish seconds to Baden Telekis, who's still pulling away further and further. Probably the reason why Ryan Grob didn't make an issue of him getting past, because he knows Dennis is faster for now as well. Then Jeremy Gallagher bringing up the second group of the biggest amount of cars all the way down to P16 as Inspo has not been able to keep up anymore and he's now being hounded by Passy for 16th. But all of that is happening further back for a non-point paying position. Whoa, look at that, Tim Tornimo and Pascal Ranieri going side by side. NLR versus ABS. Two very veteran teams indeed fighting for the top 10 right there. But looks like Tim Tornimo has to accept Pascal's major pace because he is of course on those medium tires. Jans Verdiding now also gets a penalty. So he is probably appreciative of him restarting, but the race is still going nowhere for him. A swap between ZNT teammates in the foreground, background right there. Mark Schluter trying to get past as well, but of course Jeremy's not going to accept that one as easily, but he has to yield and let the ETA driver through. Up to 5th place once again. Jeremy Gallagher on the back foot now. Mark Schluter took the most of the opportunity. He saw Sasha and Jeremy switching places and he was like, I want some of that too. I'll just take the position as well. Thank you very much. So far the soft tires are still working quite nicely. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jan is going to throw in the towel right now as his teammate passes Lucas Beisner now properly for 7th place. 30 was almost trying to get past as well. Just wasn't enough room. Lucas Beisner was like, I can afford losing 1 position, but not 2. Now though, he and his hard tires is in between drivers on faster tires. And several others behind him are from faster tires as well. Lap 6 it already is, and Ryan Grob and Dennis Langrock still see Baden Telekis disappear in the distance. Ryan Grob lets Dennis Langrock pass easily. There comes Sverdilik's retired car. An absolute shame. He tried to make the most of the opportunity for this restart, but it just didn't work out for him. Very unfortunate. A lot of close fights happening at the moment, especially those of the softs are trying to get past. Elliot Simpson though, he can't seem to be doing the job at the moment. Doesn't seem to have the pace at least in, compared to the others. Whoa, there was Christian Lubinov trying to get past for 14th place. It was a little bit of a scary moment there. Inspo is now 5 seconds behind Passy. I'm not sure whether he's having damage or just a bad race tonight. Dennis Langrock, Ryan Grob still cooperating, but the gap is now increased to 4.5 seconds. And there goes Ryan Grob. Dennis Langrock makes no issue from that overtake, which he should. A wise decision indeed. Sasha Nieve leading the other group right there from Mark Schluter and Jeremy Gallagher. Gallagher and Nieve have sandwiched Mark Schluter right there. Of course, Schluter did that himself by overtaking Jeremy Gallagher as well. But they're going to have to be careful because somebody is on a roll and it's Aaron Dominguez. He now knows he's the only remaining CPI driver tonight as he's trying to make the most of those mediums, which will not last that much longer. Same of course goes for those soft tires. You can already see the gap between Baden and Ryan shrinking a little bit as the softs are now past their prime. The mediums are still pretty much on it and the hards are getting closer to that prime moment. I would say that right now Dennis Langrock will be able to close the gap quicker But 0.6 of a second between himself and Ryan Grob isn't going to help him very much. Looks like Ryan now has got the upper hand in terms of pace, especially through the corners. So maybe the hard tires are now the better ones. There goes Mark Schluter on Sasha Neeb. Somebody else going to try. Yep, Jeremy Gagnier on Sasha Neeb as well. Teammate swap once again. Jeremy keeps chasing down the German ahead of him. Mark Schluter back up into 4th. 1.6 seconds to go to Dennis and Ryan. The gap remains somewhat stable-ish. But it doesn't shrink. And that's probably a little bit of a worry for them. They might try an undercut. Except if you're on the hard tires, which is most of the drivers in the front of this group at least. They've also shaken off Pascal Ranieri, who now leads a group of his own. Whoa, whoa! Mark Schluter went a little bit too wide there. I'm not sure whether there was contact, but I don't think there was. Just nearly lost control of the car. Jeremy Gagnier back past, up into 4th. Mark Schluter immediately under pressure from Sasha Neeb as well. I think he's got no choice but to yield, but is he though? Is he going to yield? No, he isn't! Sasha Neeb nearly pushes him onto the gravel, but now Mark has to let him go. And the gap between the teammates just within 1 second. That is crucial there for Sasha to stay within DRS range to help himself defend from the drivers behind. A mistake from Mark Schluter has allowed Dennis and Ryan to get away even more from this group. Now 2.4 seconds. The gap between Bayland and Ryan still stable now within 4 seconds. It's shrinking slightly. Bayland is keeping those tires alive very well. Strong race from him so far. It's definitely FVR versus TF10 for the win at the moment, but do not count out Dennis either. Dennis for TTM is on an absolute roll and they need those good results. They're only 8th in the standings, but they're not that far off 3rd position and even 2nd position either. There's still every bit of hope for them to close that gap in the second half of the season. Beisner is falling down further and further, so it's a bit of an up and down situation for both FVR and the TF10. They've got 2 drivers in the top and 2 drivers in the midfield. Or I should say 1 driver each, or for each team in the top, and 1 driver for each team in the middle of the field. Potentially another overtake there coming up between Sasha Neeb, Mark Schluter. Mark Schluter trying to retake that 5th position. He wants to be in the sandwich again. Can he do it though? No, he can't. Slotting in behind Sasha once more. And remember, Ramingus is watching it. Oh, Mark Schluter with a dive into turn 3, but the door wasn't open in the slightest. He wants to keep up the pressure. His teammate is 6 or 4 places, behind him on the mediums. ASLS as he tries to close the gap to Pascal Ranieri. Mark Schluter with another move once again on the inside, but Sasha Neeb is having none of it. He leaves the door open this time though, and nearly a crash between 3 cars right there. Still side by side. The racing is getting furious, but Sasha got a much better exit. And Mark Schluter now ruining his own exit, allowing Aaron Ramingus to get past. Is he going to go for another move straight away? No, he isn't. He had to go defensive against Mark. That's why he chose the inside. And Mark will be ruining that move, or ruining Sasha's defensive move. Whatever he thinks of it, it hasn't worked. This time then, Aaron Ramingus into P6. There goes ASLS. He's trying to get closer to his teammate, but he has to get past Pascal Ranieri first. Can he do it? Side by side, both cars go. Then the inside, and oh, there he goes, nearly into the wall. Thankfully, he found and regained control of his car by some miracle. Excellent car control by ASLS, but the result is less than ideal. Mark Schluter wants to get back past. He finds that the hard tires are now better than the mediums as well. Somehow, the softs are currently keeping up better than those medium tires. I'm surprised by that, but it's not the first track I see this happening. Turns out in Bahrain, I believe, the softs are better than the mediums as well. It might be the same case for Zandvoort too. Mark Schluter on Aaron Ramingus. Ferdi Harjusi. Rusi, I should say. I'm having difficulty pronouncing the names. I'm very sorry for butchering it. Looks like Ferdi is able to keep up with Mark and Aaron as well. Quite easily, in fact. There they all go. Round once again. We're nearing the halfway point. Oh, Aaron went a little bit wide, allowing Mark Schluter to get on his inside. Just had a little bit of a look. Nothing more than that. Is Mark going for another dive? No. The door was closed firmly by Aaron. Ferdy Hyrusi behind. Making sure to keep the pressure on those old soft tires. 12 laps of age. And still doing really well. Although the gap between Ryan and Balint is shrinking fast now. It's less than 3 seconds, but I feel like Balint is going to dive into the pits just before Ryan is within DRS range. That would be a masterclass of strategy. And then I wonder which tires he's going to pick. Probably the hard tires, because I feel like those mediums aren't working properly. Dennis Langwork's doing all he can on those mediums, though, to keep up with Ryan, and he's doing quite a good job. Balint still going round. Gap to Ryan, 2.7 seconds. There come the ZNT cars. Their gap to the top 3 has only been increasing ever since the feisty battle between themselves, Mark Schluter and Aaron Raminges. You can see Elliot Simpson going for a tire swap from softs to mediums, interestingly. Does this mean that rain might be on the horizon then? That might be another explanation for the soft tires, but I do not see any rain just yet. But it stays very cloudy, and I feel like it's gotten even more cloudier since the race start. So potentially we could see some rain, but if anybody in the chat could confirm that for me, that would be quite nice. Tom Sterling getting past Christian Lubinov. Christian back down to 15th, but still in the points. A crucial point for TGF. Although Elliot has just pitted and he was in a better position. The race is full dry. Thank you, Aiden, for confirming then. And there goes Balint. 1.9 seconds remains. Oh, and a yellow flag. Christian Lubinov is out! And that's a safety car! It's a safety car! It's the best case scenario for Balint. And everybody else behind him dives in as well. And by a miracle, Ryan Grob was able to avoid the safety car and disaster as well. Balint switches to the mediums. And off he goes. Things have changed. I wonder what happened to Christian. Whether he lost control by himself or whether there was a collision. But he's no longer with us in this race. Ryan Grob leads it. Dennis in second. They're going to have to swap tires now. And of course those on the mediums switch to the hards, and on the hards switch to the mediums. And interestingly, from the softs, Balint has swapped to the mediums as well. He's done the same strategy as Elliot, and Elliot will be very unhappy right there because he pitted the lap too early. But then again, you can't really predict the future, so... Let's see what happened to Balint. Will he still be in the lead? Ryan, Dennis and Sasha were able to avoid the safety car. Sasha is slowing down big time to prevent a potential double stack because of course he might as well double stack with Dennis or Ryan. You do not really know. If Dennis is unlucky, he'll be in the same pit box as Ryan. Let's find out. Looks like he isn't, so that's good news for him. Ryan is over here. Swapping tires. Ooh, it's actually Sasha Neeb then double stacking with Ryan. That's unlucky. He's going to lose a little bit of time, but Balint Telekis does retake the lead. This might be a very good opportunity for him to save those mediums a very long time. I don't think this has hampered his strategy all too much, to be fair. He's still ahead of Ryan Grob, but his gap will be smaller now. That's the only downside. On the upside, he can save his tires. But Ryan Grob is on the same tires now. Dennis has gone to the hards. So, as it stands, 2 drivers out. Christian Lubinov has crashed. Jan Sverdilik has retired in the pit lane. I think he's just had too many issues. Many drivers are able to get back to it. Noah Yidikorpi has definitely benefited from the pit stops. He's gone up to 9th place now. As opposed to TF10, who now have a car in 2nd and 11th. FVR have got a car in 1st and 9th. So points-wise, FVR is doing slightly better. But do not forget, this is Ryan Grubb. And he's very fast, but Bayland has been absolutely nailing it so far. I have to say, he's been surprisingly quick. Very good job by him indeed. ZNT, thanks to Sasha's double stack with Ryan, now finds Sasha Neeb in 7th instead of 5th. Aaron has now moved up to that position. Mark Schluter is once again ahead of the ZNT driver. Finds himself in P6. His teammate Azel is still in 10th place, right there behind Noah Yidikorpi and ahead of Lucas Beisner. Lucas Beisner hasn't had a brilliant race so far. It's been a bit of a nightmare, I have to say, for this man. He's only been dropping down the field. It also allows us to see the position changes. Lucas Beisner, look at that. Started in 7th, he finds himself in 11th. Now Mark Schluter and Sasha Neeb have dropped as well. Dennis has gained a lot of places, same goes for Aaron. He's gained the most out of all of them, so well done for him. I think he's got the most to lose, at least his team has. Because Jan Svililik is out. He started from 10th. And I think he should probably be careful now. He's on the hards. There's still more than half of the race to go, so his time will come by the end of the race. Unless, of course, another safety car happens, but he should be patient. He's got many medium tire drivers around him. Same goes for Dennis. They will not be fast at the first half of this stint. They're gonna have to let those medium tire users past when they're harassing them, otherwise they'll be losing time. Not what you want. The safety car is coming in this lap. That means Bayland leads from Ryan Grubb, Dennis Langrock, Jeremy Gallagher and Raminges. When, though, is Bayland going to put the pedal to the metal and smash it down the straight? He's probably going to wait as long as he can, but there he goes! And he's caught Ryan Grubb napping. Dennis Langrock, though, was very awake, and he's in the slipstream of the blue car ahead, but Ryan Grubb has used a lot of ERS to stay ahead of Dennis Langrock. Sasha Neeb and Mark Schluter fighting for position. Mark getting overtaken by the ZNT driver and Raminges. Almost the same scenario there on the inside goes Sasha Neeb. And he does take Aaron Raminges' position. Oh my goodness, a collision there between Aaron and Mark. A bit of front wing flying off. Was that Mark's front wing? Yes, it was. Aaron Raminges is defending everything, but he shouldn't. Mark Schluter once again on the inside, furiously trying to get past. He's not at all happy with what Aaron did. Pushes him wide a little bit. No surprises there. He's angry. There is Azeles trying to get past Noah Yidikorpi. It's chaos in the midfield right now. Sasha Neeb, in fact, trying to get past Dennis Langrock as well. Dennis could try and defend, but he couldn't. At least they kept one another alive. Sasha now up into 4th place, and Bayland Telekis is getting hounded by Ryan Grubb. It looks like Ryan's got the superior race pace, and there he goes. TF10 versus FVR, and it looks like Ryan Grubb takes the lead. After Bayland's brilliant stint on the softs, the safety car came out, wiped out his lead, and he's now demoted back to 2nd place, back to where he started. But it's not over, the race is still long, and with all of the chaos happening behind, a safety car could come out any second. Mark Schluter has decided to continue on. It looks like his slightly broken front wing doesn't really hurt him that much. In fact, he's now trying to get past Dennis Langrock as well. Dennis Langrock on those hard tires, as you can see, lets it go. Tries to stay within DRS range. I think that's the most important thing. It's a difference between the defensive calls of Dennis and Aaron. There goes Aaron versus Lucas Beisner. Lucas tries to go around the outside. Aaron is still there. He's going to go on the inside in turn 12, and past he goes. Up into P8 for Lucas Beisner, where Lucas has gained positions. Noah Yedikorpi has lost them. So while FVR is falling back, TF10 is climbing the ladder. And fast, because there goes Lucas Beisner once again on Dennis Langrock this time, up into 7th place. Mark Schluter now with a 2-second gap to Tim Ternimo. The top 5 is on their own. I think Mark Schluter is now suffering from that slightly broken front wing. This is what it looks like if you've just tuned in. The safety car has caused the race to heat up. Balin Telikis is easy. Well, I wouldn't say easily, but at least he's somewhat keeping up with Ryan Gropp right there. Doing all he can within his power to stay within range of their arch rival in this championship. It's FVR versus TF10, but ZNT has got 2 cars right there in the top 5. They're looking strong for points, and the defending champions have Tim Ternimo in 5th place right there. Not out of contention for the win either. His teammate Tom Starling in 14th at the moment. So they're mostly relying on Tim right there. In the braking zones, that's where Tim appears to be shining. Getting very close to the cars ahead. Sasha Neeb is really putting on the pressure on Balin Telikis. Balin really doesn't want to lose another position. His main rival is ahead and not behind. Although, to be fair, ZNT in the standings are not too far off FVR either. So they should be careful. Balin has got a lot to lose for his team if he isn't careful. His teammate is now in 15th place. I'm not sure what's happened to Noah. Either his hard tires have been put out of the fridge or something like that, because he just can't seem to turn them on, or there's some damage that we can't see. Noah from 9th to 15th place in the span of 3 or 4 laps. It's, whoa, my goodness me, yeah, that just shows his tires just are not working for some reason. It's so slippery. Maybe they haven't come out of the fridge, maybe they came out of the freezer before they put them on the car. It's absolutely wild. Balin Telikis pressuring Ryan Gropp there for the lead, not getting past though. Lucas Beisner making up another position. TF10 in terms of points are looking stronger and stronger. A return to form, you could say. After they weren't able to capitalize on the win last week in Brazil, where FVR took the 1-3. They weren't there to take the victory. This time though, they're looking strong once again. Lucas Beisner has found his groove. Before the safety car, he sunk through the field. Now he's climbing fast, but he's got a 2.3 second gap to cover to the top 5, and that's going to be a tall order, with all 5 of them having a slipstream from one another. It's going to be very, very tough. Balin Telikis keeping on the pressure, trying to force Ryan Gropp into a mistake by trying to have a look in his rear view mirrors. Feign an attack move is what you would say is he's doing. So far though, Ryan is keeping his composure. And it's Jeremy Gallagher who's attacking Balin Telikis for 2nd and 1st as well. 3 wide in turn 1, but Balin goes round the outside. That is one of the most glorious... Oh no, there goes Ryan Gropp, and I believe Jeremy Gallagher as well. I'm not sure whether that was caused by Balin. But 3 wide in turn 1, of course, is a massive risk. And Jeremy and Ryan are paying the consequences, and they find themselves on the back foot and out of DRS range of the top 3. Things have changed around fast in the span of 2 corners. Who is at fault right there was difficult to see from this point of view. But Ryan Gropp and Jeremy Gallagher came together. That is a fact. And Balin, I do not know what his involvement was, but he's now back in the lead. He's got Sasha Neeb and Tim Ternimo behind. Tim for NLR is, he probably can't believe his luck. He was able to avoid both Jeremy and Ryan. And Lucas Beisner finds himself very close to his teammate. 1.3 seconds. Is TF10 going to combine the power of these two drivers to get back to the front, I wonder? Sasha Neep for the lead, question mark? No, he's staying behind Balin Telekis for now. Team Tornimo slotting in behind. Ryan Grob and Jeremy Gallagher still there. Within DRS range, Lucas Beisner is losing time once again. But the gap has closed thanks to the collision between Ryan and Jeremy. FIA will probably want to have a look at that incident. Our point of view is of no use, unfortunately. All we know is that Balin went around the outside of both Jeremy and Ryan. Made it stick. An extraordinary move, but whether that has caused the collision, I cannot tell you. And so I won't. Lap 24 is what we're on right now, 2/3 of the way in. 1/3 to go. Everything can still happen. Jeremy and Ryan don't seem to have any lasting damage from the incident. Thankfully for them, and they have returned to the top 5, well and truly. And there goes Sasha Neep on Balin Telekis for the lead of the race. Balin lets him past. No problems there. I think all he wants is to stay within touching distance of that lead of the race. Because he knows his team needs the points, but he needs to be careful. Because if that incident was his fault, he'll be in trouble. And that might cost FPR very valuable points. Let's have a little look further back in the field. Aaron Raminguez is now back in 9th place. Those hard tires are still not up to par yet, but they will soon be, and I'd say about 2 or 3 laps. Those hard tires should start to get the upper hand, and then we might see Dennis and Aaron return to the front of the field. I'm not sure whether they will return to the top 5, but at least they might be leading this group again. Same goes for ACLS, Pascal Ranieri, Passi, Noah Yidikorpi, who has been sinking through the field the hardest of them all. Right, thank you for confirming, Maximilian. That's good to know. That means this man is innocent. And that means his move was an absolute masterpiece. 2 cars from the outside in turn 1 in Zandvoort. I mean, you don't see that happen too often. I probably caught them both off guard, and then they collided. But they can still see the pink car ahead. And the fight for the lead is all but over. Who do I think is going to win? That's a great question. I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is probably going to be one of these 5, because all of their paces appear to be equal. It just really depends on how they execute their overtaking maneuvers. They have to be patient. I think patience is key to your victory. Danico believing in Tim. It would be a great step upwards for NLR. They're trying to defend their title with all their might right now. Only Tim Tornimo is up for the job. Tom Starting is now hanging around in 12th place. He's made up a few positions, but it's not enough. There goes Mark Schutter on Lucas Beisner. They're desperately trying to close the gap, but it has increased massively since that collision. It's now up by 2 seconds since that moment. That was only a few laps ago. So the top 5 has increased their pace by a lot. Ferdy Hairusi in between several hard tire users. Azel is behind, Aaron Raminguez ahead. Dennis slowly moving up the field. Can they then try and close the gap when the medium tires simply die off? Although they probably won't be within popping range by the end of the race. They'll still be very old and worn compared to those hards. So it might be up to Dennis and Aaron to do it. I wonder though if Lucas and Mark care about that at all. Mark is missing a part of his front wing. He's still keeping up really nicely. Not suffering as much as I initially feared. Doing a great job of keeping it up. But there comes Lucas Beisner as well as Dennis Langrock. Dennis has to move ahead. He does so. Or he tries at least. Mark Schluter is keeping the door open, but he was defending. Trying to get back around the outside. But there goes Dennis Langrock up into 7th. Right behind Lucas Beisner. Mark tried to have a look on the inside. Oh, what's going on? Jeremy Gallagher's crashed out of the race. A disaster for the Frenchman in the ZNT car. What on earth happened to him then? He's gone and the safety car is out for the 2nd time. Was there another collision between Jeremy and Ryan? That might have turned the race around again. Jeremy Gallagher out. Safety car out. And probably a lot of soft tires coming out as well. A very unexpected crash. I do not know what happened. Francois from ZNT saying we'll talk after. Some confusion from TF10's side. Oh, Sasha, what did you do? Entered the pit lane too fast, got himself a 10-second time penalty. Ryan is going to be suffering from the double stack with Sasha Neeb. Anybody else suffering from a double stack? Not yet. But probably a few though. And now Pascal Renielli's decided to stay out. Why has he done that? And he's passing the safety car. He can't. He's not allowed to do it. He nearly gets himself disqualified in the process. Nearly another disaster unfolds on this track. And oh, he's now teleported himself ahead. And I think he's been disqualified. Yep, there you go. He probably thought he could overtake it because he thought he would. Probably might have thought the leader was still out there, but he wasn't. And Pascal is out. Disqualified and well. That is extraordinarily unlucky. Sasha's got a 10-second time penalty. Another extraordinary unlucky happening there. Broke too late, maybe got tapped from behind as everybody was very close together. I do not know. But it means his race is effectively over for the win. And that means Balin Telekis has got it all to do. Once again, Tim Turnimo will be slotting in behind him. I thought Pascal was disqualified. What's going on? Jeremy has been disqualified. I'm getting very confused now. No, sorry, Jeremy's out. Yeah, there we go. That's the confusion for me complete. But Pascal's still here. Then who got that penalty? Maybe I saw it wrong. Was it Inspo? No, it wasn't. He got a 3-second time penalty for the track limits. I wonder what Pascal's going to do. He's staying out. And he's still there. Okay, so no disqualification. Then the game was confused. That might be because he teleported ahead. The game thought he was ahead and then tried to disqualify him, and then he was behind again. And so he didn't. And now he's a major obstacle for Tim. Balin is effectively the race leader. Sasha has thrown his race in the bin. And that means his teammate is out. So ZNT is going to be having an extremely painful night now. They were doing so well with 2 cars in the top 5. Now one is out. The other has got a 10-second time penalty. He can't serve. They can serve it now. I feel like he should. Serve it now. Well, actually, it's probably too late because the safety car is going to come in. I should have served that last lap. Then switch to a fresher set of softs. Make his way through the field ASAP because now he will just fall to last place. If the group stays together like this. Dearie, dearie me. Safety car is very likely to come in. There we go. And that means we'll have 6 laps remaining. Almost a 5-lapper here. And Sasha Neeb leads the field with a 10-second time penalty. Oh man. So many things are just turning out to be disastrous for everybody. And Balin is just there. And so is Tim. Tim is just there as well. Everybody around them is just getting penalties, crashing out. And Balin and Tim Just taking it easy. So, well, I saw the question, who do you think is going to win towards me? Right now, I'd say the favorites are Balin and Tim. But Ryan could be there as well. When is Sasha gonna go? He's gonna go now. Balin Telecki's in tow. Pascal, those ancient hard tires compared to the rest, is probably not going to last very long in between the violence of the other cars, but he could play a vital role to the 2 cars ahead. Tim Ternima has to get past now, otherwise it's a serious problem. Round the outside, round the inside then. Where is he gonna go for it? Not here, and there comes Ryan Grob trying to get past the NLR driver as well. Both of them have to work together to get past Pascal, but Ryan is not going to do that. Pascal Ranieri still hangs on to 3rd position. I'm surprised he's lasted this long, and already the gap is more than a second. And there goes Tim on the inside. Gets past Pascal Ranieri. Pascal, though, tries to defend now from Ryan Grob on the inside, but Ryan goes on the outside and takes the car as well. Oh, pushing wide there. Gets, I believe, Dennis Langrock from Pascal, those old hards. I'm not sure what Pascal is trying to do here, but it's not working. Oh, he takes out another car nearly as well. Very dangerous what's going on right there. And the top 2 have escaped, and suddenly Tim is no longer the favorite to win it. Balin is now easily the favorite. Ryan Grubb's got it all to do for TF10. His main rival is right there, technically leading the race. Sasha from Balin's, Tim Ternimo, Ryan Grubb, 1.8 seconds behind, more or less. An absolute chaos unfolding now behind Pascal Ranieri. More cars queuing up to get past. He's literally a moving obstacle. Why on earth has he decided to stay out? I cannot tell you. Why, oh why, Pascal, have you done this? His teammate is a bit further back. He's holding them all up. 1.2 seconds. All of them are going side by side. There's Tom Starling and Mark Schluter. Mark Schluter is not too happy at all. Oh, there they go! No, a tap between Mark Schluter and Tom Starling, and it's a miracle they're still driving around. But a major disaster. This race has got everything in terms of drama, and Mark Schluter is now very angry. Tom Starling tried to get some good points for NLR as well, but he couldn't. He can't anymore. Now look at this. Ryan Grob has got to defend from many drivers behind. He's no longer able to get to the lead of the race. He will still get 2nd place because Sasha's got that 10-second time penalty. Wow, what a disaster there between Tom and Mark. We haven't seen a lot from Tom. We've seen a lot from Mark though. And suddenly they came together. He was forced, Pascal was apparently forced to stay out. That would have been extraordinarily unlucky. But I say he probably thought the leader was still out there. That's why he overtook the safety car too. And then the game got all confused. And either way, it's a very confusing race nonetheless. Balin's leading this race technically. There's Ryan Grob. There's Tim Ternimo trying to go for 2nd place. Not yet. He's waiting until the perfect moment to strike. There's still 3 laps to go. This is not the moment to do it. Noah Yedikorpi trying to get some extra points in for FVR. He finds himself behind Ferdi Hairusi in 9th place. Ferdi himself has lost connection to the rest of the field. Some extra points on FVR's board would be nice. They've got the win in the bag. Unless Balin starts to do some crazy things, which I do not see happening right now. To be fair, you'll probably know he's got it all to lose if he goes battling with Sasha. He doesn't have to battle with him. I mean, he can overtake him if he's much faster, but he appears to just take it easy. Save his tires, just in case. Some smart driving there going on from the Hungarian. Now let's see what's going to happen here. Ryan Grubb defending what is effectively second place. In the background right there, you can see Balin Teleki's taking the place from Sasha into the lead. There goes some fighting here between Tim, Aaron and Ryan. Who's gonna go where? It's Aaron trying to go around the outside of Tim Turnimo, but it's Tim Turnimo getting the better exit against Ryan Grubb, and up he goes into second place, and Ryan goes into the gravel and goes and lose all of the places. The TF10 day turns from great to disaster for the second time. His teammates got to pick up the scraps. He finds himself in P6 right now, but Ryan, of course, was the man to tip for second. He's still hanging on to this group. But the many cars in turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, then of course the collision is inevitable. And it happens. Once again, Ryan Grubb involved in an incident. It just seems he can't stay out of them tonight. Oh, it nearly causes another collision there as well. Between himself and Aceles. Of course, I cannot tell you who's at fault on all of those incidents he's been involved in, but the FIA is going to have another very busy day. And there will be several teams very disgruntled with the racing tonight. For one reason or another. There goes Tim Turnimo into second place. They're still within 10 seconds of Sasha Neeb as we're on the final lap now. This is going to be huge for NLR if Tim can stay there. CPI, of course, will be cheering on their driver. He's on the podium. Jans Verdillik is out. He had issues at the start of the race, but this driver of theirs is on the podium still. Effectively, what is P3 right now for him? But Dennis Langrock might have something to say about it. Mark Schluter for the fastest lap of the race. They are battling for last and second to last. An extra point for ET8. Deverhart. Ryan Grubb now with Aceles. The other ETA driver, Aceles on the inside, Ryan Grubb on the outside. They're keeping each other alive. Where's he gonna go now? Where's Aceles gonna go? This is scary, but it's still working somehow. Aceles stays in seventh. They're a yellow flag, but we've gotta have a look. Which, at Sessionib, who's not going to win the race. And there goes, well, it took a while for the game to realize it. But Balin Telekis wins it in Zandvoort. Aaron takes second place then from Tim Turnimo. He did overtake him in the end. Tim Turnimo in third still. Dennis Langrock in P4. Lucas Beiser P5. Then Ryan Grubb in P6. Aceles remains in P7. 30 Hydro C in P8. Then Noah Unicorpi in P9. Sasha Neeb has been demoted to P10 due to his penalty right there. EVE will be delighted with Elliot Simpson, who finished in P11. Incredible job by him. That's a good haul of points for the team to get further away from TGF. But man, oh man, oh man. Balin Telekis takes it for FVR, and they close the gap, I believe, somewhat to TF10. It's not going to be much. Because TF10 scores a P5 and P6. That's still a good haul of points. And FVR first and 9th. Could be very close on points anyway. Then a bit further down the field, I haven't seen everybody yet. Passy in 12th, then Pascal Renielli P13. Inspo in 14th. Mark Schluter in P15. Tom Starling in P16. And our non-finishers, of course, Jeremy Galanier, Christian Lubinov and Jans Verdillik. Whew. Well, that was some race. That was some race indeed. And now normally interviews would be coming on. However, I've been up since, well, 6 a.m. UK time, let's be fair. The race has lasted longer because of the restarts, and therefore I feel like I'm just going to call it a day for myself. I need to take a little bit of a break right here, so I hope you all forgive me for that one. I hope the drivers can as well. But it was a good run. It was very enjoyable nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed all the fancy new graphics as well. We're hoping to get the weather and potentially battle graphics online soon as well. Just hoping they will be working soon. turns out to be a little bit more complicated than we thought. And it needs to get team telemetry to work properly, and more things need to be working nicely, and everything needs to be fitting on the screen. So a very difficult job to get done, but we're going to try. And in 2 weeks' time, because we're going to go on a little bit of a break next week, we'll be seeing you once again. Let's show the calendar one more time before we say our goodbyes. Belgium, so we're just going to move a little bit further south from the Netherlands to Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps, one of the most beautiful track on the calendar, of course, happening on September 27th for PC. Of course, there's still more action coming up for CSS this weekend on Sunday and Monday for PS and Xbox, and then we're going to go into the break week. For me, though, the break starts right now, as for the PC drivers as well. The FIA, though, will have a little bit of work ahead of them, I'm sure. Either way, hope you enjoyed this race tonight here in the Netherlands, my home country. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the series. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Until 2 weeks, same place, same time, and then see you soon.